Alright, hello folks, welcome to another video. We're going to just take a little tour of this little park here off South Oyster Bay Road by the Woodbury Commons, what is this called? Plainview Center Shopping Center, which is a big shopping center, and there really should be a bus that serves this shopping center. It's a huge shopping center, and there's a shop right there, so they really should have a bus that goes through there. It's unfortunate they don't. But anyway, let's take a look at this park here. We'll talk about some issues going on. You know, this whole thing with, I figured on the latest drama with our governor. He was trying to avoid having a TV debate with Marc Molinaro. Well, finally, what's going to happen is there's going to be a debate on the radio tomorrow morning, live. I think 10 a.m. and then that's going to be televised later on in the evening for prime time. So that's good. It's still not live prime time, but Cuomo was dodging this for so long, and it was really ridiculous. It's something, you know, I mean, Cuomo is no freaking good. I keep telling you this because I know if he gets another 4 more years, he's going to make life a lot worse for us here on Long Island, all right? And I don't want to live in New Jersey. I enjoy their preserves. I enjoy going to the Pine Barrens there, but it's a great place to visit. But living there, for somebody in my situation who does not drive, there's very little transportation there. It's not like here. Things are much further apart. And then you have the whole fact that it's hotter there, too. So I just don't think, I just don't see it could ever work over there. Unless I drove and somehow I developed more of a tolerance to the heat. I don't want to leave the island. They're trying to force us out, but I'm a stubborn guy, and I'm not going to give in. This is where I live. This is where my roots are. This is where my memories are. It's not in New Jersey. And even though our Pine Barrens are struggling, this is exactly why I need to be here for the Pine Barrens, because there aren't many other people that are speaking out for the Pine Barrens. All right, we do have the Long Island Pine Barren Society, but they don't really upload a lot to YouTube. They don't really, I mean, they're a good organization. I've said some things about them in the past that, you know, I think they're really trying to do their best they can, but I still think that we need somebody on YouTube, somebody who's a little younger, geared to the younger generation, so people are aware of the Pine Barrens, aware of what's going on. You know, I have hundreds and hundreds of videos on the Long Island Pine Barrens, both Piney Power shows and videos about issues that are affecting the Pine Barrens, and we have to fight to preserve what's left. All right, we have to fight. We have to, as far as the problems in Deer Park with those bums, and that's another thing we have to talk about while we're here. The bums. Got some information. I'm sure you heard from Matt that Hicksville. This bum problem, basically the police can't do anything. If the bums get arrested, the bums have taken over the whole, they're everywhere. I mean, literally I was on the train coming up to Syosset today, and there's a bum hiding in the bathroom. He didn't want to pay. He finally came out, and the conductor had to talk with him. And he made him sign something. They know they're never going to pay. They're just being dumped onto the trains. They're just being let loose into society. And these are people that choose to live the way they do. There are programs. There are shelters. They don't want to go into them because they don't want to follow the rules. This is what the information that we got yesterday. They don't want to follow the rules. This comes straight from MTA outreach. They don't want to follow rules. They choose to live like this. They want to drink. They want to do drugs. And there's a problem. We can't have this. And the problem is the governor basically has the police's hands tied. He wants to be like Bill de Blasio. All right. He wants to be like Bill de Blasio. He wants to basically he doesn't want to have the police do their job. Police are under orders not to arrest these people. All right. I think they should be arrested if they don't want to go into a shelter or a program. Then they need to be arrested. And here's a simple thing. It's already legally possible because I think there are some mosquitoes here, believe it or not. These freaking mosquitoes. Shouldn't be any. It's been cold. Here's the thing, all right? When you're told to leave someplace and not come back, that's called trespass, all right? And so if somebody comes and they return to a place they were asked to leave after they've been trespassed, that is what you call criminal trespass. And they can be arrested for that. And they don't. And the problem is, oh, we arrest them, they spend 1 day in jail. No, criminal trespass, you can stay in jail for a while. All right? And most chances, if you're reasonable, they won't take you to jail. But it's a crime. And these people belong in jail. But the governor does not want to do that. He wants to be like Bill de Blasio. He wants to allow these people to just, roam the streets. It's ruining our quality of life. We can't have this on Long Island. All right? How do we stop this? All right? Well, the part of the problem is we now have a Democratic county executive in Nassau County, and I think I have to say it, I'm going to say it right here, I think Laura Curran is worse than Ed Mangano. All right, hear me out. All right? She's no better on Ed Mangano with the buses. Nothing's been fixed, all right? But she's worse because I think that she's basically she's friends with Bill de Blasio. So they have an association. So, Bill de Blasio, she's basically letting these people on the streets just like Bill de Blasio, because she doesn't want to offend them. She doesn't want to, offend. She wants to, care about their rights. What about the rights of us to be safe? She doesn't care about the rights. And then you have Steve Ballone in Suffolk, also a Democrat. They're all tied in with Cuomo, de Blasio, the whole thing. So this all has to do with what happens when you vote Democrat. And so we have an election coming up now. I think it's 2 weeks from tomorrow. All right? And we have got to do something about getting rid of Andrew Cuomo. And I don't care how many people come on here and say, oh, the odds are long, don't even bother. You know what? That's intimidation. All right? When I was on the group, the live video with Matt last night, one of our posts said, well, Andrew Cuomo has a lot of recognition, name recognition. So, his recognition should be that he's a horrible governor. But I know people like to go by the recognition factor, and this is a big problem. And we have got to overcome this. Because if he gets reelected, what's going to happen is the problems are going to get worse. There are going to be more and more homeless people around. There's going to be more crime. There's going to be more transit problems. And it's going to spread. It is going to spread. And it is spreading across the entire Long Island Railroad. Even on the Babylon branch, they're having problems. They're having problems everywhere, all across the Long Island Railroad with these bums. And I'm calling them bums once again. And I'm tired of people coming here. Some people say, whoa, you're not being kind by calling them bums. They can't help it. No, they're bums because it's their choice to be homeless. All right, there are programs. They choose to refuse to go into those programs because they don't want to follow the rules about no drinking, no drugs. They don't want to follow those rules. So they have a choice: either follow the rules, go into a program, or go to jail. But they can't be doing this. And that's why we need people like Giuliani, Bloomberg, people like that. It's interesting, there's a hole in the fence here. There's a little overgrown lake here. I don't really want to go. See, we could have homeless people living in here too. Look at that. I'm not going to go in here. They could be living in here, for all we know. I think that freaking mosquito bit me. Holy mosquitoes. Shouldn't have mosquitoes in late October. It's been cold. But, and then there's the Pine Barrens in the environment. Cuomo doesn't care about protecting the environment. He says he does, but look at what he does. All right, look at the fact he didn't sign the Pine Barrens expansion bill that would have protected those Pine Barrens in Mastic that are now gone. Hundreds of acres, a few hundred acres of pines got chopped down for a solar farm that could have been stopped, but he didn't want to do it. All right, then you have this latest plan. Oh, well, we've got to fix the dams at Hempstead Lake State Park because we want them to hold more water so we can protect the people in Rockville Center from a flood that's never happened. It's never happened before. There's never been a flood there. They have proposed that. They have proposed a lot of... this is another example of how they want to... The favoritism. That's the other thing that we're going to get more... With 4 more years of Cuomo, we're going to get more favoritism. We're going to get more favoritism of areas with certain demographics. Those white, preppy finance professionals, you know, those kind of people are going to get preferential treatment under Cuomo. All right? Actually, I'm going to sit here so we can sit here and talk instead of walking around. So they are going to get preferential treatment under Andrew Cuomo. All right? And areas like mine in the middle of the island, they're going to get neglected. We're going to have problems with our trains. We're going to have more problems with the homeless. We're going to have more problems dumped at our doorstep unfairly. This is why you've got to vote for Marc Molinaro. All right? I don't care if you never heard of him before. You learn, you do a little research, and you'll see all this is going to come out about Cuomo. All right? Cuomo's hands are very dirty, and unfortunately, he has a lot of people in New York wrapped around his finger, or at least he thinks he does. All right? And we've got to do something about it. And we can 2 weeks from today, a little over 2 weeks from now. We can throw him out. We don't have to vote for him. We don't have to vote for him. We don't have to vote for him. We can vote for Marc Molinaro. All right? The law is very important in this country. All right? We have to support our police. We have to support the law. Laws are what keeps the fabric of America intact. And without law, we have anarchy. And without law, we start having increasing disparities, all right, when the laws are not enforced. All right? And Cuomo does not support enforcing the laws. He does not support enforcing the laws against quality of life issues. All right? We need a governor that's going to come in and say, I support the police. Let's get these homeless people help. Let's get them off the streets whether they like it or not. All right? Once they start getting arrested enough, and once they start going to jail enough, they're going to get the message that, hey, it's better off to be in a program than be in jail. Because they can't be out on the streets. All right? It's not acceptable. All right? And it's not acceptable to have them in our parks, in our forests, creating pollution there. It is not acceptable. People go to the parks and forests to get away from the stresses of life. They don't need to look over their shoulder worrying about some crazy homeless person who might attack them. All right? Or a gang member like MS-13. The gangs, that's another thing. Cuomo is way too lenient on them. All right? Gangs are terrorist organizations. Gang members should be rounded up off the streets, all of them. Doesn't matter whether it's Bloods, Crips, MS-13. They're terrorist organizations. They need to be treated like terrorists. They need to be put before, and they don't even have a right to a regular trial. They need to go to military court, all right? Because what they are enemies of the state, all right? I know this is a lot of political stuff that I don't like talking about too much, but we do have the election coming up, and I'm trying to convince people. I'm going to start to leave now, but I'm trying to convince people that we have a real problem in this state, all right? And 4 more years of Cuomo is going to mean these problems that we're going through are going to get worse. And it's going to be harder to survive on Long Island because the problems will get worse. We'll have more of a loss of our pine barrens. We'll have more of a loss of our quality of life. Meanwhile, the cost of everything will continue to go up, and the only people that are going to have a good quality of life are going to be those white finance professionals that you see on places like Belmore, Merrick, Rockville Center, etc. All right? Massapequa. And we have other elections, too, coming up. And the other one is for the United States Congress on the South Shore. And I think it's going to be a tight race between Peter King, who is the incumbent, who I encourage you to re-elect, versus Liuba Gretchen Shirley, who is a preppy. She's a preppy, lily-white elitist, along with the likes of Cuomo. They're corporate Democrats. She's from South Amityville. I know she's from Amityville, but the South Amityville is very rich. All right, she's from there. All right, so she's only going to be looking out for her own kind, once again. So you're only going to have, you know, if you elect her, at least Peter King is trying to crack down on the gangs. He's actually been supporting tough rules against illegals and crackdowns on all this crime. You put in Liuba Gretchen Shirley, it means that all the towns that are suffering with MS-13 on Long Island aren't going to get the federal help that they've been getting now. There's been at least some federal help. They're not going to get any. All right, if you get Leah Ubigretch and Shirley, she's an elitist. She only cares about her own kind. All right, these lily white finance professionals. All right, and they're extremely preppy. You see the way she acts and dresses and carries herself. She's one of those preppy snobs, right? You know, this is the way these people act. And not all rich people act like this. I only seem to encounter this on the South Shore mainly. All right. But again, this all ties in with the Pine Barrens. So we have the other, oh yeah, we also have state senate. That's another thing. That's a balance. Right now, the Republicans have a very slim control over the New York State Senate. Very slim control. They, believe it or not, they have a few Democrats that caucus with them, and that's how they were able to control the state Senate. But it's very possible that they may lose the state Senate, and if they lose the state Senate, then Cuomo is going to have even more control, and we're really going to be screwed. All right, that's why in my district, I urge folks to, in my district, which is like central Nassau County, to re-elect State Senator Elaine Phillips. I think she's done a good job. She has been supportive of our issues. She's always gotten back to me on the train situation. When I've talked to her about the trains, when I called her office about all those holes were in Mineola, she got on the platform. She got them fixed. She's looking out for us. All right. If you vote for Anna Kaplan, I think that's the Democrat candidate. She's an elitist. She's going to only be looking out for the rich. She's going to be working with Todd Kaminsky to make sure the Babylon Branch gets what it wants, and we're going to just get ignored. All right. All right. I don't know if Todd Kaminsky's up for election or not. He needs to go too. He's horrible. But that's how I feel about the election. And you people need to vote. You know, a lot of people just don't go out and vote, and so you can't do that. This is part of the reason why we have so many problems in this country as it is. We have so much apathy going on. We have got to take back Long Island. All right, I understand things change. Long Island is much more expensive than it was. It's much more crowded than it was. We can't just turn back the clock. I understand that. But what we can do is do more to preserve, to hold on to what we have left. All right, to stop this tide of criminals and homeless people coming into our island, living in our train stations, living in the woods, to stop this overdevelopment that's going on, to get a government that's going to say, you know what, no more big projects. Let's look at what New Jersey's doing and say, you know what, we're going to reject these big projects in the Pine Barrens, all right? Like the hills at Quogue. State DCs come in and say, you can't do this. It's not acceptable. It's not legal. This is a protected area. You can't do that. Same thing goes for the EPCAL. Same thing. EPCAL, same thing. It's a protected area. You can't build this here. That's it. There's, you know, and now put a stop to it, and that'll eventually set the stage for those areas becoming preserves and parks, which is what they should become. Right? We have so many vacant buildings all over Long Island. Why do we keep building more stuff? Let's fill those vacant buildings. I mean, you see all the vacant buildings we have in Mineola. There's absolutely no reason for this to be going on at all. So I care deeply about Long Island. I've been fighting for the issues on Long Island since I created this channel, and I want to continue to fight for those issues. And a Cuomo re-election is going to make it harder, but I'm not giving up yet, even if he does get re-elected. It doesn't mean I'm going to just give up. It doesn't mean that. But it will be harder for me to fight for these issues like protecting the Pine Barrens, and the environment, which is the main thing I do on this channel. The trains are secondary, the transit's secondary, but also fighting for the transit. Yes, I'll admit Cuomo accomplished getting the third track project from the main line. I mean, he's accomplished some things, all right, but are they being done right? And look at the price we have to pay for those things. All right, we look at, all right, he did get the Ronkonkoma double track project done. Great, you know, he did get some stuff done. I'm not going to say nothing good happened under Cuomo, or I'm not going to say that. He did get some stuff done, but the thing is that we have all these projects done, all right, and the railroad is falling apart even though we have all these projects going forward. Because even though he's building these new things, he's not properly maintaining the system. This affects people in the city too. The subway has a lot of problems too. all right? If it's affecting everybody who uses public transportation in this state, that all these projects and all these big things are being talked about, but yet the network is falling apart. So, let's see, we're at 20 minutes. All right, I'm going to have to stop this video soon. So a little longer than I wanted it to be, but I just want to let you know that I care deeply about Long Island. I'm not done fighting, but I'm trying to do everything I can do to convince everybody here that Cuomo does not deserve 4 more years as governor of this state. You can watch so many videos I have of so many things that are wrong in this state on this channel. You can look at Matt Camper's channel. You can look at MTA Prodigy's channel. You could look at Andy's Randomness channel and see all the things that are wrong, all right? And yeah, Cuomo, it is Cuomo's fault. Cuomo controls the MTA. And what you're seeing is a direct result of the corruption and the favoritism that this man has brought. He's accomplished some projects, but I think any other governor could have gotten those done too. All right? That I care deeply about Long Island. I don't want to see it destroyed. I'm not going to sit by quietly. My sign is an Aries, so I'm an Aries. That makes me very stubborn. All right? And when it comes to protecting Long Island's quality of life, I'm very stubborn about it. I'm not just going to accept that this is going to become an extension of New York City, and we're going to lose our pine barrens, and we're going to have homeless people everywhere, and that you have to be rich to have a good quality life. I'm not going to accept that. I'm never going to accept that. All right? We got to take a stand on Election Day. Let's defeat Andrew Cuomo. Let's elect Marc Molinaro as our governor of New York State. 2 weeks. We have 2 more weeks. Get the word out. Talk to as many people as you can about what's going on. Use social media. Use whatever you can. Try to get them to open their eyes about what Cuomo is really all about. All right? He is not in it to help us. He is in it for his ego. He is in it for the elitists. He is not looking out for us. All right? Keep that in mind on Election Day. Please vote for Marc Molinaro. Thank you for watching.